Giddy up, guess what? It's July. You know what that means? 4th of July. Fireworks, Independence Day. It's going to be fabulous. Well, first off, I want to say hello to all my little angels out there. Hope you all are doing well, and I'd like to give a special shout out to Benita Pritchett out of Eufaula, Oklahoma. Girl, you'll always be an angel. Just keep on keeping on. So this month we're going to read two special books. Month of July, hot, 4th of July. Always a great spectacular event. But let's get started. This month we're going to read about rabbits. Well, the first book is called The Littlest Rabbit. Well, my mother and father once ago. There's Mother Rabbit and there's Father Rabbit. My father rabbit is enormous. Remember, this is the littlest rabbit. A robin is bigger than I am. So here's the robin. A cabbage is bigger than I am. And here's the cabbage. See, here's the little bitty rabbit. And there's the big old cabbage. So, next page says, so is this a tree? See how big and beautiful that tree is? Well, trees grow small and then they grow great big. Well, but I love to eat carrots. Carrots is my favorite little treat. But I'm almost as big as a carrot. So here's little rabbit laying next to his carrot. Next page says, I eat breakfast in the morning and then at night I go sleep in my bed. During the day I play and play and play. The next day, I get up and I eat an early breakfast. And I do it all over again. I sleep in my nice bed that night. And then the next day, I play, play, play. Well, but when I measure myself each day, I'm still almost as big as a carrot. So my favorite treat is actually bigger than me. The other day, I went out to the fields and played with the other rabbits. The other rabbits in the neighborhood punched and teased me. It's never good to bully anybody. Never put your hands on another person. Or another bunny in this case. See how they're hurting the little bunny? Never do that. Well, nah, littlest rabbit, they say. When can I say I am the littlest rabbit? So here they're still bullying and being very mean to the little rabbit. And here's the little rabbit. Well, all of a sudden, guess what happens? Mother comes. Mother sees me getting bullied by the other rabbits and picks me up and gives me a great big hug. Well, I love my little rabbit, she says, and she gives me a great big kiss to go along with it. And here's Mother giving me a kiss and a hug. So, then I go home and guess who's there? Oh my gosh, it's Father. Father, my big old father says, how is my big fellow today? But I know I'm not that big fellow yet, but I will be one day. So here's Father patting me on the head. And then that night, before I go to bed, I say my prayers and ask to grow big, big, big. Or at least to have the big rabbit shrink so that way they won't pick and bully me. So here I'm saying my prayers. It's always good to say your prayers before you go to bed each night. And the next day, guess what happened? Well, one day my prayers are answered. I am bigger than a carrot. So here's little rabbit and here's a little carrot. Or else he got a little bitty carrot himself. And then I keep saying my prayers every night when I go to bed. And soon I'm bigger than a cabbage. I'm growing. Oh boy, I'm growing. So here's little bunny and he's bigger than a cabbage. And he's also bigger than a carrot. After more sleeping, more growing happens. I'm as big as those rabbits who teased and punched me. But you know what I do? I don't treat them the same way. I realize that bullying is very, very wrong. But they don't seem to realize how big I've actually grown. So you know what they actually do? They still punch and tease me. Are they ever gonna learn? Nah, nah, littlest rabbit, they say. So here's Big Rabbit now, because he's grown. We prayed every night to be a big rabbit, and he's grown a few more feet. And there's the same little rabbits that bullied him, the very bad, bad, bad rabbits. And so then he tries to tell him not to bully him and stand up for himself. Well, then the other rabbits, they still want to pick on him. I don't know why they would do that. This time I know what to say and I know what I can do. Nah, nah, I'm as big as you are, I say. And I go and get Mama and Papa Rabbit and tell them to stop them from bullying. It's never good to put your hands on another animal or person, so always look for an adult's advice. I hurry home to tell what all happened. My father came and protected me, and I told my mother I was very proud of my big fellow. Says Mother, this time she's right. I am a big fellow. The sun never shone so brightly. The birds never sang so sweetly. The grass never looked so green. The world is a beautiful place because I'm finally getting my prayers answered. As I wander through the fields, I notice many, many more rabbits who are smaller than I am. In fact, they are smaller than I was. So I teach them what to do and how to treat other people. I see one rabbit who is not even as big as a flower. So I go and tell him to pray every night and he'll grow to be a big old flower. Or be as big as one, that is. Two rabbits hop out of a briar patch and they try to punch and tease him. Man, it's them same pesky little rabbits that pinched and teased me. They shout, "You're smaller than a daisy. Your father's fat and lazy." The poor little rabbit that was smaller than a daisy just sat and cried. He is smaller than a daisy, but I wonder how about his father. Stop that, I shout. Why don't you pick on someone your own size? And I told the little rabbit to run get help. So the little rabbit runs and gets help from his mom and pop, and they teach the bully and mean rabbits to stop being bullies. So the little bunny that wasn't as big as a daisy sits there and says, "Thank you, Big Rabbit," drying his little eyes from the rose petal. "One day I'll be as big as you. I'll keep saying my prayers every single night." So I am a big rabbit now, I say, but once I was the littlest rabbit just like you. So always remember, never bully another child, person, or animal, because one day they're going to be bigger than you, and it's not a perfect and right thing to do. Well, that's the one little book I have. The first one, The Littlest Rabbit. And the next rabbit book I got, oh my gosh, it's got skunks, it's got rabbits, it's got raccoons, it's even got a beaver. So, it's called Rabbit on Bear Mountain. Rabbit on Bear Mountain, it says. One day, Rabbit was flying his kite. Raccoon and woodchuck and skunk came by. They were his best little friends. "Would you like to fly my cat?" Rabbit asked. "No, thank you, Rabbit. We come to tell you something special," Raccoon said. "We come to tell you that tomorrow we are going on a long, long hike, way up top to Bear Mountain." So here's Rabbit flying his kite. Here's Woodchuck, here's Raccoon, and Skunk. They're going to tell him about a special little hike. "But you can't come," said Woodchuck. "We're sorry, but you're just too little." They was worried the little rabbit would get hurt. "I'm not too little to hike up Bear Mountain," Rabbit said. "Oh, yes you are, Rabbit. You couldn't keep up." I could too keep up, says Rabbit. Skunk looked up at Rabbit's kite. Don't feel bad, Rabbit. You are a good kite flyer. When you are bigger, you'll be a good hiker too. So they have to wait till he gets a little bit bigger for him to go up Bear Mountain, because it's very dangerous to go with everybody else. So long, Rabbit. We'll tell you all about it when we get back. So here's poor little Rabbit flying his kite, but he's not able to go because he's not as big as Woodchuck, Skunk, and Raccoon. So Raccoon, Woodchuck, and Skunk went down the road. The next morning they met at the bottom of Bear Mountain. Poor Rabbit, Skunk said. I wonder what he will do today. He can always fly his kite, Woodchuck said. Help me put on a knapsack, Skunk. A knapsack's kind of like what we call a backpack. What have you got in that pack, Woodchuck? It's very, very heavy. Well, lunch, he said. Raccoon pointed ahead. See the paint marks on the trees? The mark on the trail all the way to the top. Now follow me in a single file and don't get lost. Don't go too fast, Raccoon. My pack is very heavy, said Woodchuck. A lot of food's in here. So here's Skunk trying to figure out what Woodchuck has in his pack. And then you have Woodchuck and Raccoon and Skunk. And Woodchuck is telling Raccoon not to go very fast. So, after a while, Skunk stopped. I'm getting thirsty. Raccoon turned around. Drink a little water from your canteen, but save some for later, Skunk. We have a long, long way to go before we get to the top of Bear Mountain. So here's Skunk drinking out of his canteen of water, and there's Raccoon telling him not to drink that much to save as much as he can. Suddenly, Woodchuck stopped too. What's that noise? Skunk bumped into him. What noise? That funny noise, Woodchuck said. Don't you hear it? Bears, whispered Skunk. Bears on Bear Mountain. And he hid behind Woodchuck. So here's Skunk with his canteen hiding behind Woodchuck with his knapsack with all the food in it. Do you see what I see? Raccoon said. They looked up the trail. Someone was sitting on top of a high rock. I wonder who it could be. Oh my gosh, it was Rabbit. What are you doing here, Rabbit? Raccoon called. Now I'm sitting. Pretty soon I'll be hiking again. That's nice, Rabbit. You're not big enough to hike up Bear Mountain, Woodchuck said. I am too big enough, Rabbit said. And with a hop and a skip, Rabbit went up the trail as soon was out of sight. So here's Skunk, Woodchuck, and Raccoon all surprised that little Rabbit decided to go on ahead of them. Raccoon shook his head. He'll never make it. Skunk grabbed. Maybe I won't either. My feet hurt. And I'm still thirsty. They began to hike again. First Raccoon, then Woodchuck, and then Skunk walked in single file up the mountain. Look, Raccoon pointed ahead. Someone is waving a flag. So here's Skunk. Boy, he's really thirsty. He don't think he's going to make it. So then they start back up the little trail to Bear Mountain. Here's Skunk with his little canteen of water. Here's Woodchuck with his knapsack. And here's Raccoon, showing them which way to go up Bear Mountain. It's Rabbit. He hurt himself, Woodchuck said. What did I tell you? What's the matter, Rabbit? Are you in trouble? Raccoon said. Oh no, Rabbit said. I was just wiping the dust off my ears. Listen, Rabbit, said Woodchuck, you better start back soon before you get all tired out, or before your feet begin to hurt, added Skunk. So here's little Rabbit wiping off his ears. I'm not tired and my feet feel fine, Rabbit said. I'm off to the top of Bear Mountain. And away he went up the trail. So here's Woodchuck and Rabbit, Skunk and Raccoon. They're all going up Bear Mountain. Little Rabbit's trying to prove that he can make it, though. He's just showing off, Woodchuck said. It's time. Is it time for lunch yet? No, not yet, Woodchuck, said Raccoon. Just then they heard a loud rumble. A black cloud hid the sun. Woodchuck looked up. It's going to rain. My lunch will get all wet. Skunk looked up too. Maybe a little rain will cool me off. So here's Woodchuck talking to Raccoon, begging him to eat. And there goes little Rabbit right on up that hill trying to get to Bear Mountain. And here's Skunk again over here talking to Woodchuck about how his food's going to get wet. Oh no, look what happened. It started raining. It began to rain. It rained harder and harder. I'm wet and I'm hungry, Woodchuck said. Don't fuss, Woodchuck, said Raccoon. Good hikers never fuss. I'm not fussing. I just said I'm wet and I'm hungry. So here's Skunk hiding under the rain, hiding under his canteen with the rain. Here's little little Woodchuck with his knapsack of food. It's getting all wet. Here's Raccoon trying to still show the way. Raccoon pointed through the trees. Look, the sun is coming out. It was only a shower. We'll be dry again soon. Little streams of water ran down the trail. Ferns and mosses sparkled in the sun. We could see a rainbow. If we were on top of Bear Mountain, Raccoon said. So here's Raccoon telling them all about what he's telling them about the water and the rain and the rainbow. If. When we're going to be there, Woodchuck asked. You're getting cross, Woodchuck, Skunk said. Maybe you should eat something. But remember, it's going to be all soggy. Raccoon peered ahead. I see someone. Guess who it is? I've guessed, Woodchuck said. So have I, said Skunk. Rabbit was sitting under a big rock eating a carrot. Rabbit's lunch didn't get wet at all. Woodchuck shook his head. He's dry as a bone. He must have hid under that cliff to keep dry. Rabbit stood. When he saw them, it can't be much further, he called. I'll meet you on top. And off Rabbit went again, because he already had his lunch and he was drier than the rest. Skunk groaned. I hope I can make it. My feet are killing. Woodchuck sniffled. The needles of the fir tree. It smells just like Christmas, because evergreen trees are well known that you use them for Christmas trees. Well, trees can't grow tall up this high. If it's too cold and the wind blows too hard, I wish I could lie down for a little while, whispered Skunk to himself. So they're in all these trees, and Skunk's wore out trying to figure out how to take a nap. You can see for miles and miles when we get to the top, Raccoon said, because Raccoon wants to beat Rabbit up there evidently. I'm guessing. When? When are we going to get there, Woodchuck asked. Soon, said Raccoon. So they hike and hike and hike and hike and hike and hike. Up and up and up they climb. Then up some more, and up again, until they last reach the very top of Bear Mountain. I don't know if you can see it, but it looks like a bear here on the mountain. The shape of a bear, that is. They're almost there. Rabbit was waiting for them. I can see the meadow where I live, says Rabbit. There's Echo Lake, shouted Skunk. It's so far away it looks like a puddle. Woodchuck put down his pack. I see mountains and more mountains and still more mountains, because they just kept going and going and going. So here's where they're looking at the lake. It looks so small from the top of the mountain. Everyone looked and looked. Finally Skunk sat down. I must admit it was well worth it. Next week we'll climb Moose Mountain, Raccoon said. It's even higher. I wonder if they'll let Rabbit go this time. I'll have to ask my feet first, Skunk said, because I'm sure they'll still be hurting. Now the sun was in the west, behind the rock out of the wind. Skunk and Raccoon lay down to rest. Woodchuck ate his soggy lunch at last. And Rabbit flew his kite high, high, high over the top of Bear Mountain. I guess little Rabbit proved them wrong. He can make it to the top. So, always remember, if someone tells you can't do something, keep on it and keep trying, because one day you'll finally get to where you want to go. And so that's July's books for this month. It's always special reading to all you little angels, and never forget, when you think pink, think of me. Love, Alizé.